All right, and we are back here on the GSMC football podcast. And for the third part of the show, we're going to now get into talking about the Steelers Raiders game from Sunday. The Steelers putting up 30 plus points in this game. Who would have thought? 32 to 13 over the Raiders. The Raiders, of course, they made that quarterback change. They went to AidanO'Connell now with Gardner Minshew struggling, which not really surprised by. I figured at some point we were going to see both quarterbacks, and who knows? I mean, if AidanO'Connell struggles, then maybe they go back to Gardner Minshew. But the Raiders need a quarterback, and now Davante Adams is gone, so that's a playmaker they lose. But yeah, I mean the main thing the Raiders need right now is a quarterback, and yeah, so let's kind of go through what happened in this game. So the Steelers, they got the ball first. They went right down the field. A 52-yard field goal by Chris Boswell, who's been money this year. The Raiders actually did respond, put together a nice drive, 10 plays, 70 yards. And Alexander Madison scored a 3-yard touchdown to put them up 7-3. Both teams punted. Steelers put together another field goal drive, 49-yarder by Boswell to make it 7-6. More punts in this game. And then the Raiders fumbled. And it was recovered by Benton. It was caused by T.J.Watt, recovered by Benton. And then the Steelers, they turned that into a touchdown. That was a Justin Fields rushing touchdown from 3 yards out. They went for 2 and did not get it. And then the Raiders turned it over on downs, got the ball back, and their punt was blocked. Steelers turned that into a field goal. Boswell from 37 yards out. Then the Raiders punted again. Steelers went 7 plays, 80 yards. Najee Harris, 36-yard touchdown run. He had a good game, so that's big to get the running game going. Raiders then fumbled at the Steelers' 1-yard line. Amir Abdullah fumbled, caused by T.J.Watt once again, and recovered by Deshaun Elliott. So yeah, the Raiders just turnovers were costly in this game. Then in the fourth quarter, the Steelers punted. AidanO'Connell threw an interception to Dante Jackson. Looked like that was going to be returned for a pick six, but he was tackled at the 4-yard line. And then Justin Fields ends up scoring a touchdown to make it 29-7. Raiders did put together a touchdown drive. O'Connell connected with Wilkerson for a 9-yard touchdown to make it 29-13. And then the Steelers, one more field goal by Boswell to extend the lead. That was a 36-yarder, made it 32-13, and that was it. Looking at the Steelers, Justin Fields, no touchdowns, no picks, went 14-24 for 145 yards. The Steelers ran the ball for almost 200 yards, 183 yards. Najee Harris got it going, 14 carries for 106 yards and a touchdown. Justin Fields, 11 carries for 59 yards and 2 touchdowns. They got Jaylen Warren back. He only had 7 yards on the ground, but you figure he's going to have better games going forward. And then George Pickens was their leading receiver, 3 receptions for 53 yards. Calvin Austin, 2 for 36. Pat Freiermuth, 2 for 16. Najee Harris, 2 for 16. Steelers defense, surprisingly only 1 sack in this game. They're still missing some guys on the defensive line that you hope they get back soon. Alex Highsmith, hopefully get him back. And then as for the Raiders, AidanO'Connell, 27-40, 227 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Madison, 33 yards on the ground and the touchdown. Amir Abdullah, 24 yards on the ground. Brock Bowers, he's been good these last couple weeks. 9 receptions for 71 yards. DJ Turner, 2 for 37. Madison, 5 for 32. Bachman, 3 for 31. Harrison Bryant, the other tight end, 3 for 24. Christian Wilkerson, 2 for 18. Amir Abdullah, 3 for 14. Trey Tucker had 2 targets, did not catch either of them. Amir Abdullah had 2 fumbles, 1 for a loss. 1 fumble lost in this game. Raiders defense 3 sacks, but yeah, they they had that win against the Ravens, and you thought, okay, look at the Raiders, but then they lose to Andy Dalton and the Panthers. They almost lost to the Browns. I mean, they could very easily have 1 win. They could very easily be winless right now. Had the Ravens not blown that lead and the Browns, that Amari Cooper touchdown doesn't get called back, they could be 0-5 or 0-6 right now. And then they got the Rams this upcoming week. Then they got the Chiefs, the Bengals bye week, possibly Tua Dolphins out of the bye, Broncos, Chiefs again, Buccaneers in Tampa, Falcons, Jags, Saints, Chargers. So I don't really see a lot of wins in there. So they're looking at maybe like a 5-win season. I had them winning 8 games. See, there were teams that I were more optimistic about, and then there were teams that I shouldn't have been as optimistic with. Because the Jags, I had them with the losing record, and I'm like, I don't know. I feel like they're going to bounce back. I was wrong about that because they might win 4 games this year. The Jaguars, the Raiders, I have them at 8. And I had the Jaguars originally at 8, and then I said, you know what, I'm going to bump them up to 9. Have them finish 9-8. No, that doesn't look like that's happening. But the Raiders, yeah, it looks like this is going to be another bad season for them. Now with Davante Adams being traded, I mean, they really are waving the white flag on the season. That doesn't mean, I mean, I expect them to win some more games here, but not that many. They're going to be a team that's picking in the top 10 for the draft. So for the Steelers, though, they get back on track. Some encouraging things. See the running game get it going. They're going to have to use that to their advantage against the Jets because the Jets, they struggled to stop the run this past week. So the Steelers are going to have to take advantage of that. They're 4-2, tied with the Ravens for the top of the division. And, Justin Fields still for the moment is the starter. The Steelers, the games that the Steelers lost, I mean, they could have very easily won those games. I mean, the Colts game, they were playing catch up the whole time, but the Cowboys, I think they should have won that game. On a 4th and goal, you shouldn't have been able to stop them, but, the Cowboys end up winning that. So, the Steelers are kind of where I expect them to be right now with the schedule. They got to continue to take advantage of this part of the schedule because we're getting to that point where they get to that second half of the schedule, which is absolutely brutal. When they play, the teams in their division, they play the Chiefs. They play the Eagles and Philly, which is going to be tough, even though I think they could definitely win that game the way the Eagles are playing. So, the Steelers continue to find ways to win. And look, I still think they're going to get to those 9 wins. I still think that Mike Tomlin will finish with a winning record this year. Because looking at their schedule remaining, you got the Jets and the Giants, both home games on prime time. You got Sunday Night Football next week with the Jets, then Monday Night Football the following week against the Giants. Then you got the bye week. But then, this is actually a tough game, though, which wasn't originally, and that's the Commanders. That's going to be a tough game. Hopefully you get your guys back on the defensive line like Highsmith. You're going to need it because Commanders are a good team. And then you basically have everybody in your division, plus the Chiefs and the Eagles. So, Steelers hopefully can get at least 1 or 2 more wins between now and Week 11 when the gauntlet starts. And then you go from there. But, I mean, even saying the gauntlet, the Browns, I mean, who knows? Maybe Jameis Winston's starting at that point. But I think you can win those games. They always find a way to beat the Ravens at least once. So I could definitely see them doing that. The Eagles, I mean, it's going to be a tough game, but I could see them winning that. Eagles have not impressed me. The Bengals, maybe they split. And, the Chiefs at home, it's going to be a very tough game. It's going to be a very tough game. But, look, the Steelers are 4-2 right now. I still see, like, if they split if all their divisional opponents, they win one of the Jets-Giants games, that's 4. And they get another win in there, that's 5. And look at that, you're 9-8. I still see 9-8. I'm not stepping away from that. Not like with the Jets right now, because the Jets, I might. Well, it's funny because I was saying to myself, yeah, I'm done with the Jets. That's it after last night. But then all of a sudden I see, they get Davante Adams. Well, now I got to stay on it. No, either way I got to stay on it. I got to stick with it. I'm still in the storm. It hasn't been kind to me. It really hasn't. When they were 2-1, I was like, okay, all right, now let's build off of that. But they've gone down since that 2-1 start. But they've only been beating themselves. So, but yeah, but we talked about the Jets already. With the Steelers, though, like I said, I still think 9-8 is what they're going to finish with, but we'll see. They got it. Like I said, they got to get healthy on the defensive side of the ball. The offensive line, is dealing with injuries, and that's not good. But I mean, Fields still deserves to be the starter. The Steelers are still winning games. He's not putting up monster numbers. I would like to see them try to add another receiver, maybe. They're missing another weapon on this team. I mean, again, nice to see the running game get it going, but they really do need to address the receiver position. Get another receiver in here. Give Justin Fields another weapon, and then they should be good to go. I mean, this team I think will be in it for a wild card. I know I keep saying 9-8, but you look at the AFC right now, and it's not as much of a gauntlet as we thought originally because you got certain teams struggling. The Dolphins with Tua being out, the Bengals getting off to their brutal start. The Steelers got an opportunity here. So, we keep talking about that second half of the season, but you know what? The Steelers can definitely win some of those games. But only time will tell. So, let me know what you guys think, though, about this game. What were your takeaways from it? Let me know in the comments. So, when we come back from our next break, we will discuss the Colts-Titans game. Joe Flacco leading his team once again to a victory. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about this game from the Titans' perspective, too, as Will Levis continues to struggle. So, with that being said, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.